All right, Shalom. Let's start off as always by giving all praises, honor, and glorification to our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Ruchai Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone who teach well and rule well. And Shalom to the elect. This is the Brother Zakar from the Great Millstone Montreal branch. And the topic we're going to touch on is how there will be an economical collapse. Okay? The economy will collapse, all right, in the society. All right. And the money system that we're currently using will come to naught. Okay, meaning this fiat money is not going to have any value. Okay, real soon. Okay, because the elites of the world, they want to transition into a digital money system. Okay, right now we're using a cash money. Okay, fiat money, for transactions, but they want to transition into a digital world. And what's going to facilitate this system is the microchip, okay, the MOTB, okay, wherein all transactions will be monitored, okay. That's why there's heavy promotion of the AI, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things. Okay, they want to have total control on everybody's transactions. Okay, so soon there will be an economical collapse. Okay, so they can transition into their new desired system. Okay, so let's start off in the book of Zephaniah 1 and verse 11. It says, "How ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off." All right, and Maktesh was a merchant city. Okay, which the modern day Maktesh would be Wall Street, okay, in New York, okay. And we see how in the past few days there was uncertainties in the economy, okay. They said that come on, see. Stock market, yeah, this is the stock market was going down due to the tariffs that Trump, okay, the King of America, implanted, the King of Babylon, okay. But they said that they went back up, so there's still uncertainties, because he's saying that he's going to put on tariffs, then he removes the tariffs. We know that he put a high percentage of tariffs, which is a tax upon China, okay, which is the biggest producer of goods, okay, of items, and America's the biggest consumer, okay. So we're in the times of uncertainties, as far as economically, okay, even as far as wars, okay. But all these uncertainties is going to lead to a economical crash, okay. All right, so I read Zephaniah 1 and 11. It says, "How ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off." All right, so eventually the money system that we're using right now is not going to be used anymore. The dollar is not going to have any value, okay, due to inflation and hyperinflation, okay, which the scriptures speak on, okay. When we go to the book of Revelation, chapter 6 and verse 5, "And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand." Okay, now the balances represent judgment, and also unjust weights, okay. "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. Okay, now a penny goes back to a denarius in the Roman Empire, which would represent a day's wage. Now, for a day's wage, you will receive a measure of wheat, okay, and 3 measures of barley for a day's wage, okay. So that's speaking of hyperinflation, okay, inflation, hyperinflation, wherein the money, really has no value. Okay, there's so much money that there's so much money in the street that it loses its value. Okay, all right, which raises the prices of goods. So for a day's wage, you will only get a measure of wheat. Okay, for a day's wage, you will only get 3 measures of barley. Okay, it says, and see thou heard not the oil and the wine. Okay, which is this truth. Okay, which the elect have this truth. Okay. Right, so that's speaking of inflation and hyperinflation, okay, and that's the times that we're leading into, okay, well, really we're in those times, but it's only going to get worse because the prices of everything has gone up, you know, and with all these uncertainties of implementing tariffs, that's only going to worsen things, man, and eventually, these uncertainties is going to lead to an economical collapse. Okay, all right, let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7 and verse 19. I'll start at verse 17. All hands shall be feeble and all knees shall be weak as water. All right, that's in the time of trouble. All right, it says they shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall cover them, and shame shall be upon all faces, and baldness upon all their heads. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Okay, their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so now once again we're speaking of the time of trouble, where their money is not going to have any value. Okay, and of course, the inflation and hyperinflation is going to lead to this trouble, man. Is going to add on to the trouble. Okay, because their money's not going to have any value. Okay, there's going to be famines, which is going to lead to cannibalism and people just going crazy, man. Okay, all right, just people just losing it, man. Okay, because they put their trust in their money. That's really what they trust in. They trust their money. They trust their government. Okay, they don't have faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so there's no way they're going to be stable in that time, man. Right, when the money has no value, all those thousands, those hundreds, those thousands, the hundreds and thousands, the millions that they've accumulated in their bank account, that's not gonna have any value real soon, man. And it's certainly not going to be able to deliver them in the day of judgment, in the day of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, that's why they're gonna cast their money in the streets. Okay. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. There you go, right? Because they put their trust in uncertain riches. Okay. All right. The true riches is putting your trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The uncertain riches is putting your trust in that which is not, which is money, man. That fiat money. Okay. Which that's what the elites gave you. Okay. They made you put the trust in paper dollars, man, which has no value. It's not backed by silver. This is money made out of thin air, money made out of debt. So that's not gonna. that's gonna be the stumbling block, man. Putting their trust in the money. Okay, and real food is not gonna have any value. You know, this is the book of Psalms. No, this is Proverbs rather. Proverbs 23, verse 5. Wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. Okay, they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. Okay, the money, the riches, man, they're here one day and they're gone the next. Okay, and once these elites stop putting their trust in that fiat money, start putting their faith in fiat money, okay, and they move on to another system, then these people are gonna be in a complete confusion, man. Okay, you know, that's what's gonna happen. Okay, once again, they're gonna move into a digital system. Okay, that's their plan. You know, there's talks of CBDC. Okay, CBDC, which means central bank digital currency, right? So they want to move into a digital currency, which is ran by the central bank. They have control of all transactions, man. CBDC stands for central bank digital currency. It is a digital form of a country's currency issued by its central bank, by which the elites control the central banks. Okay, this is, think of it as a digital version of cash, but accessible through electronic means. All right, that's why everybody has a phone now. They use gradualism to give everybody phones. Access to internet. And slowly but surely, they've minimized the use of cash. Transactions are being done by tapping the phone, using your card, your bank cards, just tapping it, which ultimately is going to lead to them, um, deceiving you into putting a chip into your arm or your forehead to complete these transactions. While in the meanwhile, they have control of you. Think of it as a digital version of cash, but accessible through electronic means. Central banks are exposing CBDCs to enhance payment systems and potentially address the decline in cash usage. Okay. It says, here's a more detailed explanation. A CBDC is a digital representation of a country's fiat currency, like the US dollar. Central bank issued. It's not issued by commercial banks like a credit card or bank account balance, but by the central bank of the country. Right. Ultimately, it's all for them to have total control. Okay. All right. So yeah, people are gonna be in complete shock, man. Okay. Once that money system is gone, you know. I mean, the riches that they have amassed or acquired, that's not gonna have any value soon. And for you to be, to participate in the system, you're gonna have to go according to your master, man, Esau Edom. Okay, as it says here in the book of Revelation 13 and verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. Now the image of the beast is this new system, this new world order that they're putting in place, and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. All right, so whatever your status, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Okay, now that mark is a physical mark. Okay, it's something implanted. Okay, all right, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Okay. All right. You go into the word mark, and in the Greek is charagma. Okay. Something implanted. Okay. Which is that microchip, man. Okay. The MOTB. Okay. And like it says, you can't buy or sell without the MOTB. So it's tied to the economy. It's tied into commerce, transactions, it's tied to the economy, man. Okay. And without it, you're not going to be able to function in this society. And this society is really based on consumerism, you know. So yeah, so that's what's going to take these people by a storm, man. Okay, their money not having any worth, and them, if they want to progress in the society, they're gonna have to take the chip, man. All right, which most people are just gonna conform to the will of the elites, right? Not having their trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Okay, which is completely off. Okay, so let's go from here to the book of Job 31. And verse 24, if I have made gold my hope, or I've said to the fine gold, thou art my confidence. If I rejoice because my wealth was great, and because mine hand had gotten much. Okay. Verse 26, if I beheld the sun when it shined, or moon walking in brightness, and my heart hath been secretly enticed, or my mouth has kissed my hand, this also were iniquity to be punished by the judge. Okay. So that's the mindset of those people. Carnal. Okay. Their trust in gold. They make gold their hope. Okay. Their confidence. Okay. All right. That's these people's confidence, man. Okay. They rejoice at the amount of money that they've amassed. Okay. Well, it says here, verse 28, this also is an iniquity to be punished by the judge, which is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, for I should have denied the power that is above. Okay. And Yahweh Bashim Yahushai surely is going to judge them. All right. This world is completely wicked, man. Okay. Completely wicked. Okay. Not having any reverence unto the Heavenly Father and His Son Yahweh Shai. Okay. The Creator. Okay. But putting their trust in, their money, their own self, their own belly, and their government, their leaders, the Edomites, man, which he is the wicked, All right. Well, calamity is gonna come upon them. Okay, and people are gonna go crazy, man. They're gonna go crazy, man. Zephaniah 1 and verse 17. This is speaking of the day of the Lord. Okay, the day of trouble. Okay, it says, and I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. You see? But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. Okay, so their money's not going to be able to deliver them. Okay, it's not going to have any value. Okay, it's not going to help you. Okay, that's just for this world, man. All right, this is Proverbs 11 and 4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. All right, so riches not going to be able to profit you in the day of the judgment of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, but what's going to deliver you? Righteousness. Okay, which is faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay. So yeah, man, there will be an economic collapse. Okay. The money that we're currently using is not going to have any worth real soon. Okay. As the elites are getting ready to transition into this new digital uh, money system. Okay, new digital currency. Okay, and that's gonna be worldwide, man. Okay, all right, which is gonna have all these people losing it. Okay, which once again is gonna lead to famine. Let's get that in the book of Second Esdras. Goes into it. Okay, Second Esdras 15, and excuse me. Verse 14 says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Which the modern day swords is guns. Okay, you got people with guns, you got people with knives, machetes. You know, it's gonna be all out wars. It's gonna be civil wars. You know. Okay. Verse 16: For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. All right, so they're going to fight against their leaders, okay, the mayors, the senators, the governors, the sheriffs, okay, those police officers, okay, it's going to be every man for himself, okay, all out rebellion. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, so cities are going to be blocked off, okay, it's going to be martial law, okay. Verse 18, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And men shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Right? So that's in the day of trouble, right? Where the money system is not gonna have any worth. Okay, so people are gonna run up into other people's houses. They're gonna kill their neighbors. They're gonna kill, you know, so-called colleagues, of this world, because of what? It said the lack of bread. Okay, they have no food. Okay, they have no food. They're hungry. Okay, people are gonna turn into cannibals, man. That's how bad it's gonna get. Okay, so that's the time that we're leading into, man. Okay, you know, like I said, all these uncertainties, on playing with the economy. Okay, wars. Okay, all these things, man, is gonna lead to an economical collapse. Okay, and Yahweh Hashem Yahshua is going to intensify things, man. Okay, the Lord is going to intensify things, man. That the economy is going to shut down. It's gonna collapse, man. Okay. All right. So I want to end off by giving all praises, honor, and glorification to our power, Hawa, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Muchakudash, whom we have to put our trust into. Every day. And in those times, Yahweh Hashem is going to deliver them that have put their trust in Him. Okay. All right, so let's give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and others of great millstone, and shalom to the elect. How about Hashem Yahshua Brakatam? What's going on? Phone froze, bro.